Harris was a miserable, lonely man, and he had been through all 40 years of his life. He couldn't even bring himself to cry about it anymore. As he sat alone in his run-down apartment, chugging 12 cans of beer while watching reruns into the late-night hours, he wondered why he'd ever thought that he could be happy. He caught his reflection in the television when he turned off the channel. Pathetic. He didn't shave anymore. Some days he could barely bring himself to brush his own teeth. What was the point of making himself presentable when women wouldn't even look his way? It wasn't only his looks they'd have trouble accepting. He was a mess all around. Every night he'd curl up with several pillows so that he could calm down his anxiety. If he could pretend that he had someone, anyone, he could get through. He talked to the night until he fell asleep. One day, the night spoke back. "You're not the only one that's lonely." Her voice was as sweet as a lullaby. It seemed so real. His heart started to race. He didn't want to be crazy. They'd lock him up if he was starting to hallucinate. The voice grew louder as the woman approached him from behind. He lay on his side, shivering. "I can help you feel better," the voice said. And she did. Around 2 o'clock every morning, he'd feel an arm drape over him. She'd then nuzzle her cheek into his neck. For many nights, she helped him fall asleep. He'd take any touch, anything he could get. But if he tried to turn over and look at her, she'd push him back. After 3 weeks, things took a serious turn. While she spoke enchanting words that made his heart long for her company, it didn't take long for her to reveal what she really wanted. "You love me, don't you?" she asked. "Of course." "Could you see your life without me?" "Never." "Would you die for me, Harris? Would you die for me so that we could love each other, hold each other, forever?" Happiness with a lover had been everything he always wanted. And after all those years, there finally was one, whispering into his ear. There was no question what he wanted to do. He'd choose to be happy. Wouldn't anyone? He'd had the pills ready for so long. All he had to do was take them, fall asleep cuddling next to her, and everything would be all right. He did it the next night. He popped the pills with a swig of his whiskey and rolled over in bed. This time, when the clock turned 2, and she came to wrap her arms around his, he could feel her nails digging into his sides, and her voice had lost its sweetness. He didn't want to turn over any longer. He didn't know what he'd find. But it was too late. Harris would not wake come the morning. He'd be hers forever.